Hi Aries, welcome to your end of November 2019 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here, it's late. I was like, okay, what month are we in? So, without further ado, cutting the cards. Wow, very strong marriage vibes here for whatever reason. Okay. And, I tend to interpret things one way, but there are many possibilities here. You might be an empty nester. Perhaps you have a child who's getting married and it's like a whole new cycle for you as a parent of somebody who is probably going to start their own family soon. The Ten of Cups is a card of happily ever after. And this card does have a marriage connection to it. So it can be a happy family life. It can be something coming to culmination, some kind of emotional situation. The number 10 is the end of a cycle, but it's like the pot at the end of the rainbow. So it has a very nice feel to it, whatever is going on, but it does have a strong connection to marriage and perhaps getting married. But it doesn't mean that you're getting married. It might mean that your child is getting married and you're helping plan the wedding, for instance, or something along those lines. Let me just keep going and we'll see other things that it could be. In the past position, we have a Judgment card. So, I mean, this could be like a divorce decree coming in, and that has created family harmony. As opposed to two parents that are fighting all the time. And so now you may feel free, you're in a better mood, and your children are as well. The Judgment card also is about the idea of cause and effect, and how that plays into our daily life, in addition to possibly being some kind of legal judgment. It can be that. If you are tying the knot yourself, this could be about that you finally used good judgment. So if you have been married before, perhaps you have learned from your mistakes in the past, Aries. And with Aries, a lot of times mistakes are made, not because the Aries person lacks intelligence, but because you are too hasty, you're not really paying attention to details, and you're not tuning in to what's going on. You just are getting caught up in the moment. And this can, obviously backfire sometime down the road. But in this case, excuse me, you may feel like you took your time, you did it right. And I suppose that this doesn't have to be particularly a like some kind of relationship issue. There may be, this could be similar to the Nine of Cups, where you're simply experiencing the end result of something and it's in a very good place for you. It's like all's well that ends well. So something that you're working on comes to fruition. And, especially on the emotional level, there's a sense of that sort of joy because you have seen it through, maybe. Maybe it was kind of a long slog. So even like, it's so funny because I suppose in a lot of ways it could be anything that you have worked on. Like even if you went to college and you finally graduated, even though, it's funny, when I went back to college in my 30s, I graduated in December. So you can graduate in the winter. And that's a possibility. So you never know. The higher message is the Hierophant. And this is another card that sometimes is associated with marriage. It's associated with the sign of Taurus. And of course, there's a religious component too, which is why it's also connected to marriage, but it's connected to tradition. And maybe preserving the family is a form of tradition. And maybe, you know what? Perhaps a partner's divorce came through and now you can marry them. And the higher message would be with the Hierophant that this is part of your values. This is what is important to you, that you wanted to do things properly as you saw it. And I mean, it depends on the individual situation. If somebody is involved in a relationship and they're kind of, I wouldn't think that you would be going through the motions, because the Ten of Cups is way too positive for that. So maybe it's simply that you're honoring, the kind of teachings, the spiritual teachings that you grew up with. But you do have to watch out for excessive conformity, because Aries people really tend to be quite mavericks and rebellious. And if you are in love and you're just kind of going along with the program because you're so much in love, sometime down the line you may realize that you've gotten married to somebody who is quite conservative and is a lot different than you, and you have to be willing to accept their differences, because it may not seem like a big deal now, but at some point it could become problematic in the sense that you may not feel like you're on the same page with this person, and that you just see things too differently. And, that could be true, that might not be true, who knows. But certainly the Hierophant can refer to somebody who is respecting what has come before and not trying to be, like a nonconformist or anything like that. And if I had to kind of place my bets on Aries keeping up with that, at some point you might rebel. But the other thing too is that with the Hierophant, this could be about your spiritual life, and this is a spiritual position, so maybe that's the most likely, where it's saying, you see how when you raise your consciousness, you attract this kind of relationship to you. And, you're looking for something more. You're looking for kind of shared values, perhaps, and you finally got them in another person. What crosses you is the Star card, and this is the card of being led by unseen forces, having faith in unseen forces, hope restored, healing, and things like that. It's actually a very positive card. So I don't see anything like that is countering any of this, because those are wonderful cards on top. What I do think is that because the Star card connects to Aquarius, there might be an Aquarius person who isn't that happy that this is happening for you. Maybe they are even an ex. So if you have somebody with the sun in Aquarius, or some prominent Aquarius in there, like a moon, and that really impacts how they act, this person may suddenly decide that your marriage is a sham, and they, or your impending marriage or your relationship isn't what it's cracked up to be, or they're trying to make problems for you. Who knows? I've been getting this theme a little bit, and maybe it's because Mercury is still retrograde until the 20th of November, and so past relationships might still be kind of coming up for review, or these people are still active in the person's life in some way. What's coming in is the Four of Wands. This is the card of the happy home. You see the people, they're kind of celebrating. To see, I've gotten, like I said, I have certain cards that really go along with that. And this could be a new home. For those of you who are not resonating with the other cards, you may have some kind, but who knows, maybe the new home is what you're celebrating in the first place, whether or not you're getting married or anything like that. And the rest of the family is overjoyed by that. Jupiter has finally, moved forward in the latter part of November, and come out of its shadow. And Jupiter in Sag is your 9th house, Aries. So that blesses the area of long distance travel for you. And I did get this card, which is a card of moving on from stressful, drama-filled situations to more peaceful surroundings. This can be a card of relocation, but there is a component of choosing peace. And I was saying this to, I don't know who I was saying this to, but about Aries, how sometimes Aries loves to fight. There's almost kind of like that enjoyment of the conflict as a challenge or something like that. But it might have been whatever, you've been involved with in the past, it might have been a little bit too combative. And you're happy. You might be leaving with a partner. In this particular card, there shows another, family, a child and another person. So you may be relocating with your family, and you're going to have your dream home, and you're very happy about that. But what you're really happy about is that you feel like you have something solid. With the Hierophant, I think of, thinking down the line of generations and having that lineage, and not just kind of like living in the moment. You might have been content in the past to kind of live in the moment until you found your true love, the person that you wanted to be with, and then everything else falls into place. Maybe you find the house of your dreams, and you find the place you want to live that is of your dreams. And I realize that this reading is covering half of the month, and that sure is very, that's a lot to take in for such a short period of time. So, first of all, being a Sagittarian, I can't seem to rein it in. But also, I think that it's all about the feeling of it. If this seems like something that you have been going through, then it's all good. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about, grandiose things, because the basic theme would be correct. So that's all that matters. I hope that some of this resonated for you, Aries. If you'd like a personal reading, please check out my website link in the description box, and have a great rest of November. Bye.